Okay, let me ask you a question. Did you love writing when you were a kid and then suddenly you got to big school and you hated writing? If that's you, because that was me, stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is Trish Jones and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Ditch Your Limits. And yes, today I am going to be talking about writing, but I hope that I'm going to be talking about writing in a way that's not going to make you go, yeah, because that's what used to happen to me when, especially when I got to doing my MBA, right? When you're younger and you're doing writing, you absolutely love it. I don't know about you, but I loved creative writing. And we had a policeman come to our school one day, and I can't even remember why, but they encouraged us to do a writing. We had a writing competition, and I was, let's say, I was about 7 at the time. And I was very, very creative, right, when it came to writing. And I actually won second prize. I remember I won second prize because I didn't win first prize. And I was so upset that I didn't win first prize. And you know the only reason I didn't win first prize? Because the pencil that I wrote was, anyway, the teacher said it wasn't dark enough. But otherwise, she said you would have won first prize because it was that good. And I remember at the time I wrote about George the Curious Monkey. And if you don't know the story about George the Curious Monkey, sorry. If you go back actually on the internet and check it out, I think they brought it back recently as a kiddies program. I certainly know they did when Elodie was a baby, but that was, 20 years ago. No, not 20. Sorry, she's not even 18 yet. But anyway, probably about 15 years ago. But that's neither here nor there. I absolutely loved writing, right? And it was very, very creative. And then you got to doing your exams, whether you do your high school diploma over here, it was back then CSEs or GCSEs. And then it got a little bit harder, right? Because, then they're telling you you've got to make sure that, all these terms, I tell you, Elodie comes in home with these terms, right? She's doing English literature and language combined. And she comes out with all of these terms. And I just look at her, blank. And I just think, just write, man. But of course they can't because they've got to, have all these, in fact, I wish she was here. Elodie is one of them, onomatopoeia, whatever it is, right? I can't even spell it, I don't think. But especially when I did my MBA, writing got to me incredibly boring because you had to write a certain way. And even now when my husband writes stuff for me, I have to say to him, you dare put that word thus in my document and you and I, there's going to be trouble. Because to me, it's like writing like a professor. And here's the key. If you want to write so that people hear you, it's actually quite simple. And you ask any of my clients, they will tell you that I say this over and over and over again. I want to hear you in text. Do you hear me? I want to hear you in text. So when I pick up your book and I read your book, I want to say, yeah, I could see so-and-so saying that, oh my gosh, yeah, this is her. I don't want to pick it up and start hearing your English teacher that I don't know, because at that point the book is dry and it's boring. And I remember once one of these internet marketers created this report, and no, sorry, it was a book. He created this book and everyone was raving about this book, and I received the book and I'm reading it and I'm going, I know you so-and-so, and this isn't how you speak. And you could tell that he'd given the book over to somebody to edit it, and everything was, I do not, I will not. Now, there's a place for those things. And if your name is Dr. Christine Cumbin, and you send me a piece of writing and it has, I won't, I don't, etc., etc., I will know Dr. Christine Cumbin didn't write this, because Dr. Christine Cumbin speaks very proper. I know you're watching this, Pastor Christine. And if you speak to Pastor Christine, every time she speaks, she says, I will not, I do not, I have not, etc. And so you know that if you read something from her and that is how it's written, that is Pastor Christine Cumbin, Dr. Christine Cumbin, right? Pastor to me. That is how she speaks. But if this isn't how you speak daily, so did you notice that I said this isn't? So if I just keep saying this is not because I'm trying to force it, I am forcing it. And so therefore, whilst you might watch my videos, you then pick up my book and you go, what happened to Trish? Trish isn't in this book. This isn't her voice. This is not her. And so if you want people to hear you when you write, you have to let them hear you in text. You have to write the way you speak to an extent, right? And when I say to an extent, you still need to watch your grammar. You still need to watch your spelling. And no, I'm not the grammar queen, right? In fact, actually, I recently wrote a small book, which I'm going to talk about in the next video, but not this one. And I actually got my husband to check it, and then I double checked it. And even when it was printed, there were things I saw that I'm like, uh-oh, you know, that is so wrong. And I got a little bit, worried about it, I would say, too critical, right? And there is a place for grammar. There is a place for spelling. Richard Branson says that he gets somebody to check all of his blog articles before he puts them up because he's dyslexic. And that is totally fine. But otherwise, you want people to hear, if you want people to hear you, you have to write in a way that your voice comes across, that you're projecting you and you're not projecting your teacher. So, you know, I just want you to do this one thing, right? When you go to write the next document, whatever it's going to be, email, blog article, whether it's a letter to somebody, I want you to do just one thing. Sorry, English teachers, I love you, but I mean this. Brush off the critical teacher. You know, tell her, back off. This isn't a place for you right now. I'm telling you, when I finished doing my MBA, I vowed that I was not going to do any more structured study. And I remember having a conversation with Pastor Christine Cumbin, actually. She said to me, Trish, now you've done your MBA, you know, you're going to go and do your PhD, aren't you? And I was like, no, I'm happy being Patricia Jones. I do not need to be Dr. Patricia Jones. So no, we ain't going to do no MBA. And Pastor Christine Cumbin says to me, she says, Trish, if you don't do your PhD, she was only joking, right? We are going to be no more friends. And I said, Pastor Christine, if you keep talking to me about PhD, we are going to be no more friends. Because I felt that the way in which they pushed me into writing on the MBA, I lost my creativity. And I have slowly began to regain my creative confidence again by actually just being me. So you will hear me say to my clients often, over and over and over again, that when you write, I want to hear you in text. So I want you to put more of you into your writing. And as I said, that could be whether you're writing an article, a blog post, an email, whatever it is. The next time you actually go to write, I want you to pick up your pen, and the first thing I want you to do is decide that you are going to be you. So if you got to sing that song, I just want to be me. Okay, I'm making that up. Elodie will probably say, Mummy, do not put that song into the video. That's the one thing I don't do, right, is sing. But I'm joking, half joking, right? Write it if you must. I just want to be me. You have to be yourself, right? Because if you're not yourself, I'm not really hearing you. I'm hearing your teacher, or I'm hearing some course that you've bought on writing. And you know, we've got to be creative. We're creative, right? And so it's taken me some time to get out of that MBA structured way of writing to getting back into being my creative self. And I don't want to go back there, right? And that's the reason, as I said, that I do not want to do any more structured education, because I don't want to be narrowed down into this way of writing. When I read a book, right, I want to be able to have my senses engaged, and not just my eyes and my ears, but I want to feel the atmosphere that you're in. I want the description to be not overly exaggerative, and in fact actually don't even need to be exaggerative. You just need to engage me in such a way that I feel like I'm there. And yet for me, when I wrote for the MBA, it was almost like, you know, just right. I just can't even explain it. It was just so dry. Even when I was doing my dissertation, and even though I think I got 60%, it's a sore subject. Don't mention it to Chris, right? Because I actually got higher than him, and he wasn't happy. But he couldn't believe it that I got 60% because this is the other thing, right? I should actually grab our MBA dissertation and show it to you, but anyway, I won't. His was about that thick. Me, it was 25,000 words, right? And it had to be, I think, between 20 and 25,000 words. Me, I was staying more towards that 20,000 words, right? And yet, being the creative me, we're supposed to write more, are we not? Because when we're creative, very much more, we tend to write more because we tend to describe more. But no, my dissertation was about that thick. His was about that thick. All right. I wasn't going there. Listen, I was pregnant with a baby. I just wanted to get this baby out. The last thing I was interested in was finishing off MBA dissertation. I just wanted to get it done, go on a holiday, come back and have this baby. But anyway, that's by the by. The fact remains that it goes to show that you do not have to write long stuff in order to be heard. You need to write it with energy and put your character into it. If there is no character, it can be as long as you like, but people aren't going to listen to it. So even if you're going to write a letter to your bank next time, put more of you in there. Drop the templates that you find online. And even if you find the templates online, just customize it so it actually sounds like you. My sister says to me sometimes, I don't know how you do it. You can actually really be cheeky, but you do it in a way. By the way, for the Americans, being cheeky is, what do you call it? Yeah. It's not quite rude, but it is kind of edgy, right? But she says, I don't know how you can be so cheeky, but you do it in such a way that somebody can't even go, oh my gosh, rude, because I will just say it as I would say it if I was sat around a table with you, and so sometimes, guess what? Sometimes even my little lingo comes into what I am saying. So if I say bro, somebody might say, you can't say that, that's not English. I don't care. The English teacher's not here. The English teacher's not paying my bill. The English teacher is not trying to get me to get my message out there. So if you want to get your message across, I want to hear you in text, okay? And I want to be able to feel like I am where you are. So that is it. That is the end of another episode of Ditch Your Limits. And I will see you same time next week. Okay, ciao for now.